committee.
Here.
And if everyone could remember to speak into the mic. Also, let us remember everyone who we lost at 9/11, 23 years ago. First on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Any changes? Additions?
I move they be approved as read.
I'll second it.
All those in favor for approval, aye? Aye. So moved. Second on our agenda is John's report on the school district meeting.
Okay. BJ and I met with Superintendent Sorensen, Mr. Bowling, and Travis, the head of maintenance, and we met for an hour. The first thing we did was congratulate Superintendent Sorensen on his reelection and how important that was to us in this project. The first thing we discussed was the chiller, the boiler situation, and they pointed out, Travis did, that the chiller is still in place, and the parts to fix the boiler of the chiller would be around $5,000. We're assuming the district will do that. I have not confirmed that with Mr. Sorensen, but I will. The boiler has been removed. Now, the need for the boiler may be redundant in that rarely are the boilers used in the county. It has to be a very, very cold day. All right, the second point was related to the electrical situation. And we asked them about any issues with the electrical situation. They didn't know of any real problems. They pointed out where the various panels were. Okay, the third one, we asked them for an update on the roofs. They gave us an update on virtually all the roofs, and many of them, or most of them, are metal. The asphalt ones are basically 20 years old.
Yeah, I think, they said that the metal roofs were between 10 to 15 years old, is what, they did them all at the same time, I believe. The auditorium, the gym, and the main building is what Travis said, and he said it was 10 to 15 years. But, and being that they're metal, they should have a 50-year life, so.
At least.
At least, yeah. I didn't mean to interject, sorry.
All right, we asked them if they know of any problems, which Seller was obligated to tell us. Major problems that they could reveal to us. They said they knew of no major problems, and we asked them about asbestos, and they gave us a couple of areas, but it wasn't, this asbestos wasn't really significant. Then we asked about surveys, and Travis told us he had a couple of surveys, and he would get those to us, but they were modern surveys.
I believe they were, when they did the cafeteria, when they redid that, he has some information about that land that was back there, but I cannot find. I think that's what he said he had. I need to contact him, so.
John, what did he mean by modern surveys?
In other words, related to the property that was acquired recently, and when I say recently, within the last 20 years.
2004, 2005.
Or even the Knox property, and
Yeah.
what we're referring to as parcel what?
It's part of parcel B, the back there, when they redid the cafeteria. There's a strip of land that the city gave or swapped with the school district, And so it's kind of in the back there where they built that parking lot, behind the cafeteria. They should have a survey for that, or at least he said he had the paperwork for that. And then we do have the survey that the Knots did when they did their property, when they sold their property in the 50s.
The next one, we asked if there were building plans. They said they would look into that and send us what they had. Then number 7, did they have tile work? We went over the tile work that DJ had worked on, and it became a significant issue in our discussions. We talked about the building that was given to them, a complete building with a modern auditorium in that day, a basement, cafeteria, a complete school with like 15 or 20 classrooms. And we pointed out that that was unique, not only to our district, but probably to the state itself. Then we went to talk about the auditorium being asked if they would be interested in turning that into a historic building. Would they help us do that? And they virtually said that would be up to us once we acquire the building. They weren't interested in pursuing that. And then we turn to the main issue of the day. We talked extensively about a partnership agreement referring to the buildings that had been sold basically for $1 in Pomona and Malacca, and that's setting a precedent. We refer to Mr. Bowling's former statement stating that governmental entities had worked together in the past. And he talked about the gymnasium in Palatka, that they had worked together on that and they came out positive on both sides. So that's and they, both of them very much want this to happen. Okay, we talk about a possible long-term agreement. And they asked what we meant by that, and I said, well, possibly a lease agreement. And they said, how long? I said, we talked about that issue, and then I said, possibly 100 years. If we're gonna have a working relationship that we're talking about. And Mr. Bowling said, I'm not interested in a 100-year lease as a part of my legacy. He said, outright ownership would be the best for the city and for the school district. We then started talking about the gift that the city had made to the district being so unique. Talk about that. Mr. Bowling and Mr. Cerncy talk about the appraisal of $4 million, and that he and Mr. Bowling could make a decision if it was in 90% of that. And we talked about the city's budget and how limited it is. And DJ was very forthright with them and said, I am a member of the council, but I can't speak for the council. I can only give you my opinion. He told them that he didn't think the city would be interested in anything that had 6 figures in it. And he said perhaps $200,000. that turned the discussion to a story. Mr. Bowling said that if you go before the school board, which is basically what you're telling us now, you're going to have a story that is plausible and understandable. That moved the discussion directly into the title search. This became the most important next step. They both want this to happen. But they can't make a decision like this. Only the school board can make that decision. They would like to see it start to move along. Superintendent Sterncy said he would do anything he could to help us. He seemed very sincere. We will need to find the funds to do the title search. Now, I want to speak to that. Ordinarily, the seller does the title work. That's tradition. But I'm proposing that since we're asking them virtually to make a big concession, perhaps we should do the title work. We could ask them to help us with it. We could ask them to do it. But that's something we need to discuss here at this meeting. Then it came up with our story and the players to be present in the story. We told them that the city was committed to an architectural study on the cost of the renovation of the school, and that the city was willing to pay for that study. They saw that as very positive. So that's basically where we are now. I'll say we moved off of the middle, now we're having to do something. So you're open to talk about it, ask questions, and go, DJ and I'll answer the best we can.
John, can I also add, one of the things that we had mentioned or discussed was that parcel C that I have on the map there. And the fact that really, they need to sell it, or they should sell it. And the city program is very interested in them selling that to a private entity and developing it. And we could even help market it or try and help them sell it if that would help move things along. So, but pretty much, we care about the buildings. That's what I think the city is interested in most. I would rather that 5 acres south of there go on the tax rolls and be developed. So that was one of the things that we discussed. And I was gonna check to see if they had, I don't know if they still have a listing. Ben Bates listed it originally, but I don't know if it's still like on the MLS or what. I was gonna check last night and didn't get a chance to. But it was a very nice, comfortable conversation, really. They definitely, I agree with what John said, they definitely want to work with us on something and make this happen. And even Dr. Sorensen was talking about thinking outside the box. We were just kind of thinking about some creative ways that we could work together. So I really still think, I wanted to go and talk to them and just kind of throw some stuff out there and see how they responded. And I don't think anything that we said were they like, oh, no, we're not doing that, except for the lease. We talked about the 99-year lease, which I can understand that. So I think it was a very positive meeting. I don't think it could have gone any better, really. So.
I'd like to make a comment on parcel C. Parcel C may be an important component of us acquiring this property. And the main reason I state that is for parking needs. Certainly, if we develop this property, we're going to need and meet parking requirements. And I'm not sure with the building related to the square footage of the site, that there's enough open space for meeting parking requirements, plus street parking. So bear that in mind as an issue. On the title, under the title search responsibility, I agree that it's probably wise for us to have that done on the district. How should we proceed on that? Title work being done.
Do we know how much does title work cost? Like,
All right,
I guess.
I talked to Barbara about it. She said probably $2,000.
Okay. So that's not a big deal, really. I mean, we're asking for $120,000 to do that.
And she pointed out that traditionally the seller does the title.
I think that if we want to move this forward, I mean, they really, they want to make a deal, but they really are much more casual about it, I think. The interest and the push has to come from us, or from the city. I think that's the best way to make this happen. And I mean, this is something that has to be done, and I don't see, them doing it.
Yeah. A part of the story is the unique story of the Gilbert family and their devotion to Bible study and the building that they created and then gave to the city. The Bible Institute itself, the Bible that, a reference Bible, probably the first reference Bible was, part of it was written here in Crescent City. So all of that is a part of the story, but also the revision of addendums to the, what's the word I'm looking for? To the appraisal of the property. All of that is a part of the story. And the people that present are going to be important. So we're really hanging our hat on one meeting with the school board. But if it's done properly, I think we have a good chance with them. But it's going to take a lot of work to get this together and to do it properly. And they need to have all of it in writing well before the meeting so they can be abreast of what's coming up. And if you want us to go back and pursue anything else, we're open to that. But to me, I think we'd at least move off dead center. And now we're moving towards some resolution. I think there's a real groundswell within the community to do this. Because we have an election coming up that is really important.
Well, and I compliment you both on your fine meeting and the results and the clarity we now have at this point. And what we agree on and what we need to achieve. Concerning the lease conversation, and Was there any discussion on short-term lease? An agreement for 3 years?
No, there wasn't. You know, timing is an issue. Do we want to try to get this done with this present city council?
Can we?
Pardon?
Do we have time to achieve that goal?
That's a good question. At least we know what this council is.
True. Well, then,
You know, it's.
let's move forward to try to achieve it.
There's 2 months, basically. Something to think about.
So BJ, will you be asking for funding for the entire work?
I can do that. If you guys want to vote on that and make a recommendation, I can add that to what I asked for tomorrow.
Do we all agree that BJ should request that?
Yes.
And we all agree, BJ.
We have agenda.
Yeah.
I gotta send out a revised agenda.
And I think we need like a committee to start working on the story.
And just to clarify, when we talk about the story, you know, the history and the events that led up to the school being, you know, the school being transferred to the school district. And so it's, you know, when we say story, I don't want to make it sound like it's fiction. I mean, it's fact. We just have to, you know, nail down those dates. Because we're dealing with 1902, 1905, and all the way up to 1922 when the current building was built. So
Maybe narrative is a better word.
yeah, a narrative, there you go, a narrative. Because that's what we're gonna need to convince the school board. You know, and that's pretty much the gist that I got from that meeting was, if we want, you know, if we can justify it, then we can make it happen. So,
Would we be wise to ask the Historical Society to help us in this story?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. They can help, you know, they certainly can give us historical information, which we're going to need. And pictures, I think pictures are really important. You know, when you say, well, they gave us a school, they don't understand that, but when they see a picture of that school, and we can have a couple of people that went to that school get up and speak about it. I'm not the only one. There are older people than I am that went to that school. You might say, well, who in the world is older than John?
no one would say that.
There are some out there. So that's part of the story. It's a compelling story. And we need to make it compelling.
I agree. And of course, it's spanning over, the history is spanning over 100 years. So
Yes.
there are generations that can contribute to the story.
Yeah.
Also, all right. I was pleased with the summary of the physical plant and its condition. I think that's very promising. And I can understand their wish for us to take care of the historical issue with the auditorium.
For example, the appraisal, the new appraisal that Barbara furnished us, if she were able to present that, that would be a real plus. She's respected by them. everybody on that school board. So the players that we bring to it are really important, and who presents it is gonna be important. So we have to figure all that out and start working on it right away.
And I think getting the abstract done is step one.
Yes, that needs to start right away.
Yeah.
When will the, city meet again?
Tomorrow
Okay,
evening.
good.
So we'll be able to get,
That's very timely.
yes,
And that's for extension.
and I'll also be asking for the commission to extend the existence of this committee, since we have a time limit set at the end of September. So, I don't ask for another 60 days or something, what do you think?
How about to the end of the year?
Or the end of the year, I can do that.
So getting back to John's recommendation of setting up a committee, how should we move forward with such a committee?
Well, I would certainly serve on it, and I'd like DJ to be on it. And maybe we should just choose the others. What about that?
I'm fine with that. Ron, what are your thoughts?
Sounds good to me. You know, I was thinking about one thing. The main building and the gymnasium are historical buildings, right? It's gonna be extremely hard for them to do anything else because they can't be torn down.
Well, actually, we don't have any, they are contributing structures to our National Register District, but that is basically a voluntary designation. We really don't have the current,
Can't deny it.
we currently don't
Can't
have the
deny
power to
demolition.
deny. Yeah,
I
so,
just wonder if that's why the deal fell through with the developer they had here not long ago.
I mean,
However, will that change with the new?
well, not really. We have to become a CLG, a certified local government, and then put a local historic district in place. So really, we don't have.
Why can't we just change our code to accommodate it?
There's no basis for
Yeah,
preventing a demolition.
I mean, that's,
Historical structure.
But you don't have the authority as a local government to designate it.
I understand.
Yeah.
unless you.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Just a thought.
Well, okay, gentlemen, if you'll move forward with that and let us know how we can help.
And I had talked to Barbara 2 days ago, I guess, on Monday, just to check with her and see if she had talked to Gullet and if I needed to follow up. And she said she was on her way to Placa and she was gonna talk to Placa Abstract. So I know she's not here today, but I will touch base with her and see what she found out. Because I think her general sense was that Gullet apparently, the girl at Gullet was too busy to answer her calls, which means she had a lot going on. So we tried, she tried several times to talk to them and was not able to really get their assistance. So she was suggesting we go with so I will touch base with her and see what came of that conversation.
Is there any public discussion at this time?
If I could offer a couple of comments, please. Thank you, Danny Miller. I'd like to speak to the title report abstract. That, I think we all recognize, is of critical importance because it's going to be the springboard for everything else. The information that it will deliver, an abstract gives you actually the chain of title. You get to see the deeds, the conditions placed upon the deeds, that kind of thing. It's more than a simple title report. That will inform the story that will be told. I went back and reviewed the history that Miss Marjorie Neal Nelson wrote about the school and that BJ and Shirley subsequently edited. And it's silent on the conveyance from the city to the school district. So we all recognize that's a critical element. So it'll inform our story, but also it'll address the issue of clear and marketable title. I'm unsure of, if you think in terms of parcel B, what portion, perhaps all, but what portion at least of parcel B was conveyed from Gilbert to the city to the school. If it's just a little bit of it, the reverter that we're all aware that exists probably still encumbers all of the buildings because they're jammed in there so much, they probably overlap the original Gilbert plots boundary lines. So really, the likelihood exists that all of parcel B has significant issues with clear marketable title, which brings us back to the concept of a 99-year lease with the city. So again, it's informing the story, but also the facts of the matter. The Historical Society has a board meeting on Thursday, so we'll certainly take that up. Perhaps you might mention it to your son, John. And if I understand it, it sounds as if the school district really, I heard you say, here, let me check this. I heard you say, John, that the school district really wants the city to have ownership of everything. I think that was the word you used. And it seems to imply maybe that they want to have everything kind of off their books. Perhaps think in terms that if necessary, the city might need to take a holistic view at parcels A, B, and C, whether it be for parking or whatever, but at the very least, the city could enter into that and immediately get to work trying to bring a buyer/developer in for parcel C to reduce any net out-of-pocket capital expense. And then the last thing I'd like to comment to, and thank you for your patience, is the sport preservation ordinance. I understand we're certified local government is necessary in order to protect that. This is the single most significant historic structure in the city. Forgive me, I'm going to show my frustration. But we've been talking about a historic preservation ordinance and certified local government in the city for a couple of years anyway. And I suggest it's time to quit talking about it and start doing something about it. I have no idea how long that process takes, but we need to begin it in earnest if that is what's required to protect those structures. So, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to also further state on how important Parcel C is. Our city grows, and just think of the theater itself on the site, 400 seats. That's a lot of cars. And Parcel C is a perfect location for parking when we think of the Catfish Festival and the parking needs for that. And other events. Parcel C is very important for the future of our city. And we have to realize the value of shorefront. It's a rare opportunity for the city to purchase additional shorefront on the lake.
Well, according to Barbara's new appraisal, that's $500,000. And where you come up with that money, I don't know, but I just don't see how the school board would just give us that. So
I agree there are obstacles. However, I think
I think it's important, and I think the city commission would understand that it is, that's, partial C is important.
So, so I think we all recognize that it's important in many ways. So it gets to the subject of grants. Any progress on meeting with our grant writers on the opportunities of possible grants?
Not yet.
When might we have their insight?
I could reach back out today
Well,
and
thank
conduct it.
the timing of it is becoming important.
Might be good to talk to Bobby Payne before he's gone.
RNG together. What they offer.
The honor.
And there's still we're just doing 120.
That's my recommendation. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, 6 hours.
Any more on John's fine report?
I would be happy to call Bobby Payne. I'll do that.
Thank you, John. And other business, we are still in need of another member of this committee. And of course, someone with a business background would be ideal, particularly with financial knowledge. We need to develop budgets, strategies, et cetera. Business plan. So let's be prepared by our next meeting to discuss candidates. On this issue, the sooner the better we bring someone on board.
You're looking for someone with financial background?
Yes.
We can, also put the post, can we put that as an open post or put out a
Yes, I could put it
notification?
on the website. Most certainly.
So, so Karen, also, financial, but also a business background would be, the combination would be ideal.
With the combination of a business
Business
and financial
and
background.
finance, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else, any other issues? Any other comments? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
And we do have a meeting already set, right, next week?
Yes,
Tuesday, I think, is when we meet
Yes.
next week.
what is it, next Tuesday?
Yes.
mhm.
Okay,
9:00.
Yes.
which is, what is that date?
The 17th.
17th.
Thank you, everyone, again, and this meeting is adjourned.
It can be, graphics in.